Hi all, I'm Dan Smegrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, June 20th, 2020, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. Hey, I'm Dan Smegrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Our guest today is Chris Fraser. Chris is the founder of MatterVids. He's located just out of Bristol, Tennessee. Hey, Chris, good to see you.
Hey, Dan, good to see you. Thanks for having me on the show again.
Oh, and Chris, thank you for being on the show again. We just love having you. You always have great things to share with us. And I'm super excited about today's show, MatterVids, buttery smooth videos created from Matterport Highlights Reel. And I'm just going to almost cut to the chase and say for less than 20 bucks and in quantity for less than 12 bucks. So, you know, I suppose you could say, let's end the show here, but actually, I think we have so much to talk about on exactly what this MatterVid is. Why don't we start just with what is a MatterVid?
Okay, yeah, that's a great place to start. A MatterVid is really just a high definition video file of your Matterport tour highlight reel. So basically whatever you have set for the highlight reel, we take it, we capture it, because a lot of people struggle with capturing it. We capture it as clean as it can be captured, and it's almost a perfect clone. Then we enhance it, and we send it back to you in a video file that you can put up on YouTube or really wherever you want to.
Chris, you're so understated. You have this awesome video solution. Let's take a look at some MatterVids so that our audience can actually see what this is.
Sure. Let's see. Let me get one pulling up on here and share my screen.
And there's many iterations of MatterVid. So we'll start out with a MatterVid, no audio, created from a highlight reel, a Matterport highlight reel. And I think Chris will provide some commentary while he's playing that video.
Sure, and it's actually telling me that the host has disabled screen sharing.
Oh, forgive me. We do this by Zoom, and Zoom has changed some privacy settings. So
Gotcha.
let me see if I can change the setting here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Good. Okay, Chris, you're all set.
Okay, cool. Let me pull this off here, and then I'm going to go share.
And even while you're setting up to share screen, I should say, when I say buttery smooth, the video, the MatterVids are buttery smooth. There's likely to be some latency because of how we broadcast using the Zoom platform to YouTube. But that said, it really is quite amazing. Chris, we can see full screen. We're on your your showcase example screen.
Perfect. Okay, cool. And you can still hear my audio? Oh.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is the video example page. And one thing I want to address real fast before I show this, you know, we're all about privacy and white labeling. So if anybody sees this and says, hey, wait a minute, I want to do this, but I don't want you showing the world that you did my video. That's one of the options when you order. People that have made these have given us permission to share them. So let's see here. One without, let's start this one. Let's see if this was, okay, yep. Hold on. That one. So. Fun times. Here we go. Okay, let's go to this sample first. This is a sample that is available for download if you decide you want to promote it and show people, but this is one that we've embedded on our website, and you can actually get the download link. We'll get into it later about how we deliver. But this is a perfect example of the walkthrough. This is how when you set up your highlight reel, if you choose walkthrough from the settings, then you're going to move through the space like this. Is that coming through okay?
Yeah, that looks great. So okay. I think, again, it's not always, I think, obvious to even Matterport service providers that have been doing this quite some time. Mm-hmm. You're creating the MatterVid from a Matterport 3D tour, specifically using the highlight reel that's been created by the Matterport service provider. And the highlight reel can either be a walkthrough and that's what we're watching now, or a slideshow, a Matterport highlight reel slideshow. So those are two options within Matterport Workshop. And then, Chris, maybe we could take a look at looking at a MatterVid that's been created from a Matterport highlight reel that is in slideshow mode.
Okay. And that's actually, that was my panic there a minute ago, is trying to remember which ones were in slideshow mode. That was the one
Which I think is great. You've been so busy doing this that it's probably overwhelming the number of examples you have and the different kinds of iterations that are possible.
Well, right now in our upload, we've got, and we only put them up for a certain amount of time and then take them back down, and we've got over 1,000 sitting up there right now that need to be gone through. That, and a lot of people want to keep them private and don't want the world to know. So we're going to do trial and error until we find one, if that's okay. Because I know this playlist is made up of videos that have been approved to share. So I'll try to be very careful about not sharing people's work and saying, hey, look what we did. A lot of these have music. Let's see here.
Even if you show it with music, just to show the highlight transition.
Okay.
Using this.
That's a walkthrough.
Using the slideshow.
Okay.
So while Chris is finding an example, you'll notice that there's a logo in the bottom right corner, and on the videos that Chris delivers, that MatterVids deliver, there's no branding by MatterVids at all. So we'll just let Chris kind of get queued up here so that he can show us an example that's been done. Highlight.
Okay, that was the slideshow transition. Let's see if this pulls play. Okay, yeah. A lot of times when you go from a 360 into the tour, if they've taken 360 outside, then it's going to have that slideshow type transition anyway. Maybe. Nope, I don't think. Nope, it's a walkthrough also. Okay. I don't think that one's going to be either. Okay. The majority of
I tell you what, let's go back to your homepage, mattervids.com.
Sure.
MatterVids. Okay. And then in the top is a menu item called examples. So we won't do a deep dive into looking for that one at the moment. So if you want to just come back, click on it, Chris, if you click on examples here for a moment, and then I think you had the list. Is that where they can find?
They can find it here, or you can click right here to go to the full page. Yeah,
the full page version. So this is where we were. You can go look at many different kinds of examples.
Yes.
So Chris, you started to play one with music. Why don't we talk a little bit about music?
Sure. Yeah. So with the music options, we've got a music page up here, and ironically, the plugin that I'm using for my music player is not here, but we can talk about the details, and I'll show you where you can browse the music. You got the option to order without music, or get a custom track for $4, or the MatterVids Top 20. Over the amount of time we've been offering music, we've had quite a few people asking for the same songs. It's funny because we've got a library that's full of like thousands of songs. And we frequently have people coming back picking the same songs, and so we've made a top 20 list out of it because we figured if they're going to order over and over and they're repeat customers, then let's just give them the benefit of having a discount on the music that they like. Let's make it easier to order at checkout. They don't have to go searching for a song and choose it and bring all the information back. So if they choose one of those, then it's $2. I'm going to get that list updated, and by the time you're watching this video, if you're not watching it live, you'll probably see that information updated.
Yeah. So in fact, when I went to your page this morning, I could click on music, and then it would take me to another site. Can you talk a little bit about that other site?
Certainly. Yeah. That's artlist.io. It's a company that sells royalty-free music. But we bought the license, the blanket license for the entire catalog. So if there's anything on this website that you like, then you just go to it. Let's say, for example, we come on here and we look and we just at a glance, we see, oh, well, you know, I like the song Love right here. So I'm going to click on it and I like, that's great. Okay. So I click on the icon and this particular song has its own URL because this is pulling up the Love song. So if no, I'm sorry, that's the album. So if I go up here and click just the song, then you get the URL that you notice up here.
Let's actually grab that URL and go to the shopping
Sure.
cart so we can show an example of that. So we're going to go back to MatterVids, MatterVids. We're going to go back to the home page,
Okay.
just so that everybody's kind of
Sure.
landed on the home page for MatterVids. This is the page to expect. It's got the steps for how to order. There's a start your order now button. So Chris is going to click on that.
Okay.
Okay. And now we're looking, I'm not sure if you need to put in a Matterport
You do the Matterport
tour ID. Yeah.
And that would be the first thing that you put in, and that's just the 11 characters that come after the question mark M equals in your URL.
Yeah, I'm probably going to mess you up because I really wanted you to be able to copy and paste the link, but
Okay.
this is good. Let's go back to that the add music link. That's okay.
Okay. All right.
If you click down on the so the first option is no music, and
that's
the
by
price
default.
with no music for plain MatterVid delivered within 3 business days is $19.99 US, so under 20 bucks. Now, if you want to add music instead of no music, here are some specific tracks, the ones that are typically popular, or you can do at the very top the custom track right there. So Chris is going to select that. And then when we get to the next screen, he'd actually be able to paste in the link for the music.
That's correct. Yeah.
So even while we're here, why don't you just tease us with everything else that's on this page? Maybe you can take if you could even call up maybe a Matterport
1, 2, 3,
tour.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, there we go. 11.
Okay,
That should be
but
enough.
just for clarification, because again, if you're just starting out with Matterport, it's not always obvious. If you take the URL for Matterport and you stare at the link.
Let me pull one up that I've done recently. Okay, so there we go. So this part right here, if you go in your URL, it's just those 11 characters right afterward. And the reason we say that it's right after that is because if you put a bunch of URL parameters and things out here, you know, they're going to be after it. So you just want this right here. This is how we track your order. This is how we keep track of the progress of your order. If you inquire about something and we say, well, which tour was it? You know, we're not looking for the name of the tour or the address of the tour. We're looking for the tour ID. Then that helps us to keep a unique identifier for every project that goes through. And that'll be part of the file name for your deliverable when we send it. So
okay, so let's maybe even copy and paste that and put
Okay.
it in there.
Sure.
So again, we're not taking the entire URL. We're just taking the Matterport tour ID. Everything after the question mark M equals. And if you're adding parameters, none of the parameters get added.
right. And just for funsies, since that's a locker room for a ball thing, let's go with a powerful, uplifting song, maybe something sporty. I don't know. We'll just call it. That's fine. We'll just go with the opposite of that. That's okay. Pause that. So we're going to take this code right here and we're going to copy it.
Now, is that for
No.
the specific song rather than the album?
That is not. Good call. Yep. So there's the song Hold Me Down. Now I'm going to tap on it. Now I see that the name of the song is right here. So I'm going to copy that. Let's see here. Hold Me Down instruments. Yeah, instrumental version. Okay. So I'm copying that. Then I'm going to go back. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to decide whether I want to fly in or not. For right now, I'm going to say no. We'll talk about those a little bit later. This is where it comes to the permission part. Yes, these are the different ways we can handle it. If you say this one, we're more likely to use it and stuff, just so we, we're, like I said, we're careful to follow your wishes with that. Delivery options, we're going to standard 3-day. I'm going to get one of those. And I'm going to add it to my cart.
Okay, standard three business days. We're
Mhm.
now
Now this is the
and
checkout.
checkout. Okay,
Okay.
so this was $19.99 plus $4 because you selected the option for custom music.
That's correct. Mhm.
Okay, and
I'll get
then
the option to add a coupon code. If you have a coupon code that you need to
Mhm.
use, then you've got that. So I'm going to go to checkout, and then let's see here. My email
Very
address.
interesting. Your payment form is different than what I was looking at this morning because there
Oh,
was
is it?
an option to put in a note
Uh-huh.
for you.
It should. I think it pops up on the next step after this. I think it's under review and submit order, or
Okay,
I'll make up. I don't know if it'll let me get through doing that.
interesting. So why don't we just say this? At some point during the order process, there will be a field where you can paste the link for custom music.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so let's take it off screen share for the moment.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so we're starting to work our way through different examples, Chris. So the first example was no audio,
Uh-huh.
created either from a Matterport highlight reel that had a walkthrough
Mhm.
or a slideshow. Then we talked about adding music. I think one of the things that was a little bit tricky for me is on your order form, I saw a pull down of about 20 songs,
Mhm.
but I really need to go like, well, what are those songs? So there
Right.
is a page. So how about taking us to your page to say, hey, we do have a short list. If you don't want to go off to the other site and look at thousands of songs, which is actually pretty cool because you can filter and you can say upbeat, up tempo, low tempo, vocal, not vocal, whatever.
Right.
So how about do the screen share, take us to your website where you
Okay.
have your 20 or so songs that are on.
That's actually the problem. Something has happened just this afternoon. The plugin that I use is not loading for me. I knew I didn't have time to contact the people. Yeah, there was a plugin here that
Okay,
had
so
a player.
we'll come off the screen. That's fine.
Okay.
So had that worked, what would we have seen on that page?
Sure. Yeah, you would have seen a list of the and it may be, tomorrow it might be working again. If not, we're going to manually add them back in. But you basically just have the name of the artist, the name of the song, and then a play button, and you can actually play it back in a player right there in the browser and listen to it just on our website. So you don't have to go anywhere else to get any information. And then you just choose it from the drop down. You don't have to copy and paste anything. You just know this is the song I want.
Yeah. So we have no music.
Mhm.
Some music. Here's a
Mhm.
short list. Listen to them. Still not happy? Go off to another website that you've licensed music and pick out whatever song you want. Then come back, actually paste the URL into the order form, and that's ordering custom music. Adds just $4 to the cost of the Matter vid.
And one question that I get a lot with that is, do I have to have a membership to that Artlist site? And you don't. We've already paid for our license. We do use a referral link, so if you do sign up, then we get credit for it. But you also get 2 free months. So we figured if people see it and like it for their other stuff, and they want to license it, then there it is. So.
Terrific. Google Street View fly-in. What is that? How do I order it?
Sure. Google has a tool. It's a Google Earth tool that's designed for making fly-in videos. But a lot of people either don't know about it or don't have the computing power to really do what they need to do with it.
Okay.
And
can you show us what a Google Earth fly-in looks like, and then
Sure.
tell us how we actually figure that out and order it?
Sure. Yeah, let's see here. That is working. Let's see here. Go to home page. There's the next page. Examples. Okay. So here are two that I did. One, I figured it was universal enough that everyone would know. Let's see here. Disney World. Just went there last year and was like, hey, this place does look like that. So there we are, zooming in from outer space, flying in, and we're right in front of Cinderella's castle. So the idea with these is that we'll start in space like this. It runs about 5 seconds long. And as it plays, it just kind of moves its way toward Earth, finding the location. In this case, it's hitting Orlando, Florida. We're zooming in and we're landing. Now, what's really cool about this one is this is a 3D model of Cinderella's castle. Some areas of the Earth, we have 3D data that we can use. Other areas, it's just going to be just like looking at flat Google Maps and you're looking at the top of your location. It really just depends on how much data Google actually has for you.
Yeah, that's a crazy exciting example. How about the other one you have below that?
The other one's Alcatraz, but there back in '94, but I didn't get to actually see it. But there it goes. So that's flying and landing at Alcatraz.
Cool. If I wanted to see these examples again, where are they on your website?
They're on the examples page. They're right down below the MatterVids examples.
Okay, so we'd go up to the top where it says examples and then simply scroll down. Okay,
Correct.
so
we can do this for residential, and there are some residential locations that are already mapped in 3D. And so I just wanted to show these because I knew there were universal locations people would recognize. So
okay, cool. How about okay, I like that. I'd like to add that to my video. How do I do that?
Okay, sure. On the order form, and this is a pretty simple, straightforward. Well, I say straightforward, but maybe not. Do you want to include a Google Fly-in? Select all that apply. So no, I do not want a Google Fly-in, or yes, add a Google Fly-in for $19.99. So you check. Let's say you want one when you're ordering. You check yes. If your tour has the address included and posted, and it's inside the info bar, and you forget to put it in the notes, that's fine. We're going to go by that. If we get an order and you not included in the notes, which is the section where you put the music information as well, if you didn't put the address that you want us to zoom into, we're going to go with what the info box says. And so if the info box is wrong, then we'll have to figure that out. But ideally, we'd like for you to at least give us a street address. We can use a street address. We can use coordinates. You can go to the location and zoom in on Google Earth and then just copy the whole URL and give us that.
How about doing that? Let's see what that looks like.
Sure, yeah. Let's see here. Okay, so let's go to Google.
Okay, I couldn't see the URL at the top. What are we on?
Sure, we're in Google Maps. Let's see here. We're gonna go to Disney World.
Okay, forgive me, but your URL looks different than what I do. So is it
okay.
google.com/maps?
Maps.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I just typed in Disney World, and here's Disney World at the bottom down here. And I'm gonna move this little panel out of the way just so we can see. And it's temporarily closed. So, okay, so I'm gonna go to satellite view. And then I'm going to zoom out just a little bit to get my bearings. And so in this case, okay, the park and what we just showed you is down here. Now, if you want to know what your location is going to look like, whether it's going to be 3D or not for the finished video, then the best way to tell is when you zoom in and you get closer to the location. If you look over here under the compass rose, there's a little 3D. So if I can click that, and I can zoom in and I can see the location in 3D, then your finished video, Google Fly-in, is going to show you kind of this perspective, like a 45-degree angle, kind of downward view of your location. If you don't have that option down there and you get yours back, it's going to come in more like this type of a view. So that's the difference. We're going to cut out all of the graphics and all of the overlays. It's just going to be almost as if we had a drone in the area that made it through outer space.
So let's say I click on that 3D button. Now, what URL am I copying, pasting to give to you? Am I copying the short URL, or am I copying that very long string at the very top?
Well, if you can tell me how to find the short URL, then that would be awesome.
Okay, let's try the pull out on the top left.
Okay.
And I am looking for the share button.
Share, got it.
Okay, and then copy link.
Copy link, perfect. Well, let's throw it into a new thing and see what that does. that takes us to the right spot, then we're good. We are good. Well, Dan, do you want to work in our R&D department? That would be awesome. So, okay, there we go. Yes, short URL. That's the new standard. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know personally, I have lots of problems with that really long URL because it's got all kinds of crazy symbols in there, and sometimes it seems to break, and that copying the short URL seems to be a little bit easier for me.
That's perfect.
Okay, so literally, it's super easy to order a Google Street View fly-in if you want it. And it added a little bit more to the video, but it was a pretty exciting effect that it added. And for my part, to order it, all I really need to do is go grab the link. I'm presuming, Chris, that if I wanted it in 3D, I needed to grab the link, the copy for 3D. If I had clicked on that 2D button, I would have actually delivered to you the 2D version of Fly-In. So I really do want to take advantage of the 3D, look for it, and then copy it.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Really, one thing that we're all about is managing expectation. We want you to know, with Google Fly-Ins, with the tours, with everything, that that's part of why we have you build your own highlight reel. We want you to know what you're getting back before you get it back.
Okay, cool. Is there an opportunity for adding a logo?
There is, yeah. We've recently kind of pared down a lot of the menu options just to keep up with demand, but we're leveling back out as far as being able to keep up with everything. And so we're going to be adding that back in.
Can you show us an example?
Sure, yeah. Let's see here. Let me go to share and jump back here to Disney World and get that out of the way there. Here we go. Okay, so examples. And we're going to go to the examples page. There we go. I believe it was.
Even your first one, I believe, might have had a piece of artwork on it and a logo, maybe.
Okay, was that the first one? Okay, let's see here. This may have been. Yep, that's it. This one, the client wanted to have a logo come in before the video.
That was kind of a fancy fly-in as opposed to a flat logo. So did the client provide you with that piece of video, or did you actually create that?
No, that's the part that we created. So we're actually right now we handle this all through email and setting all the details up. Soon it will be part of the ordering process. But we have a situation where you can either pay $19 per video that we add it to, and then there's you don't necessarily own the video, you don't have a copy of the file, we just plug it in, or you can pay $49 up front. We'll send you a copy of the video that you can use in your other projects, and then we'll use it in any of your future videos for $2 per video. So we're just basically asking you to pay $2 for the extra work for incorporating that logo into the video.
Okay, and is that, what are my options? Is it at the beginning? Is it at the end? Is it both the beginning and end? Is it burned into one of the corners? What are the options there?
By default, it's at the beginning. And so it'll be an introduction to the video. Usually they're really nice, professional quality the way we do them. We'll talk to you a little bit about your brand, or we'll check out your website. We're going to find a way to make it fit into your brand and beyond brand. And so, if you say to us, hey, we'd really like to have it at the end of all of our videos, then we don't mind adjusting to that. And it's really, at the end of the day, it's just to make your stuff look better. So, that's not a problem. If you come in and say, I want it at the beginning of this video, at the end of the next video, and in the middle of this one, then, we might have to work out a different pricing structure, but we try to keep things as scalable as possible.
Okay, and if I want to have the URL for the property?
We do. We don't have that as an option at the moment that's coming up, but we've had it in the past. And again, that was one of those things. Let me see if I can find one here that's got it. That's not it.
That's okay.
Okay.
So I think the point is that it's not part of your standard offering to offer a logo at the beginning or logo at the end or logo burned into, let's say, bottom left corner, or to have a URL with the property address. But all those things are possible. There is an additional add-on charge for those. In the notes field, I would imagine just put a note, say, hey, this is what I would like.
Well, and actually, if you're wanting that, probably the better way would be to use the contact page, because a lot of times we've really designed to try to streamline the ordering process for
Okay.
the clients that are.
If you would take us to your contact page, just so
Sure.
everyone knows where that is. So again, we're going to go back to MatterVids, MatterVids.com. And then on the MatterVids page, I'm going to imagine it's going to say contact us.
It's gonna be right here.
Contact. And then from that contact, then you can put in questions even before you place an order. And I
That's correct.
could imagine that as this evolves, Chris will start to add options for adding a logo, and then where do you want it located? Just as a quick thought, I'm going to probably jump ahead here, but I'm going to imagine you're going to recommend not putting it in the bottom right corner because YouTube puts some stuff over it. So keep away from that right side. Left side, okay?
Yeah, left side would be okay. And that's the thing too, is, we'll incorporate it all into the order form in time. We had it all in the order form to begin with, but I think it was overwhelming new clients.
Yeah.
And they were just like, I don't have a logo. What am I going to do? And we just wanted people to be able to get the simple base product and then build from there.
Yeah, that's a good point, because for many people, maybe just perfectly fine to get a video without music created from the highlights reel for less than $20, and it's done.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many people are ordering those.
Yeah, and I can imagine there's lots of uses here. Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, but Instagram has a different format. So yes. How do we deal with that?
With that, there's an option that's actually going live tonight. So it'll be there by the time anyone's watching the replay. For $4 extra, you can get it's set up for Instagram. So it's just a square video, 800 by 800 pixels. It's designed to loop just like all the other videos are, because that's one thing that's going to happen on Instagram. If people land on your page and they watch the video, then it's looping. It'll be less than 60 seconds. So you can drop it like right in your feed, and it's just going to keep looping over and over. So,
okay. So in the case of your excuse me, for Instagram, that is an add-on. So if you order a basic video or anything else, then you'll pay an extra
$4.
$4 to get the Instagram version, which meets the Instagram specifications of a minute video. In your case, it'll loop, and it's sized properly. It's square.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I could imagine another use case would be perhaps Zillow. Could you speak a little bit to Zillow meets MatterVids?
Sure, yeah. When we first started offering the latest version of MatterVids, the one that was like, almost exactly a clone of the original highlight reel, we had a couple of clients that like ordered a bunch back to back to back, and I just kind of asked them, are you shooting all of these now, or are you, what are you doing? And they said, we're putting them on Zillow because our client wants to put a walkthrough on Zillow, but we're not wanting to go in and produce a walkthrough video. And I said, Zillow's letting you do that? And they said, yeah. And I said, okay. So then, a few weeks later, they switched up. They were doing them all in slideshow mode. Then they switched up and they got one in walkthrough mode and came back and said, whoa, they told me no. They said it came from a 3D tour. I can't do it. And I said, huh. I said, now you switched over to walkthrough mode. What if you went back to slideshow mode? Would that work? And they tried it, and they apparently had success with it. So I've not had anybody else tell me they couldn't get it on Zillow, but it's still a possibility they could look at it and say that came from a Matterport tour. But there's some things that you can do. There's some best practices when you scan the property and when you set up the highlight reel that will minimize the feel of being in a 3D tour. To make it more like an actual video production. I mean, it's never going to be exactly the same, but it'll make it smoother and it's less likely to get flagged for that. So slideshow mode is one key way to be more likely to get it on Zillow.
Okay, so I presume you don't promise that it'll work with Zillow, because these other third-party platforms sometimes have rules that vary and get interpreted differently, even depending on who's moderating a platform. But if you want to have the most likelihood that your video is not going to get flagged, then create it from a slideshow highlight reel.
Correct. Yeah, that's what's had the most success.
Chris, are there some best practices in terms of creating a highlight reel in order? In fact, I guess we should say, well, can I just send you the Matterport tour? Why do you need this highlight reel anyway? And then why don't we start there? Why is it a Matterport highlight reel to create a video?
Sure. We've been working at it since 2016 and looking at different ways to do this. And one of the early ways that we did it was with a video game controller plugged up and navigating. We tried it with the keyboard. We've tried to, try to mind control it. That didn't work. So we tried to figure out the smoothest way possible to navigate the tour and capture it at the same time. And the highlight reel is just designed for that. And again, going back to the whole idea of managing expectation. If a client comes to me and says, hey, I'd like you to do my highlight reel, I'm honored, that's great, and I wouldn't mind doing it. It's actually pretty simple now with the new interface. But if I do it, then I'm likely to highlight a feature that looks great to me, but it may not be what your end client wants to highlight. So you know the product better than I do. So if you create this highlight reel and you showcase it, then you've shown me this is what I want to show the world. So it really cuts a lot of the ambiguity out and makes it easier for us to process it and know that we're giving you something you want, instead of spending time making a highlight reel going, I hope that's what they were wanting to show.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's less than $20.
Yeah.
You've automated the process.
Yeah.
It runs from the highlight reel. No one needs to they don't need to invite you as a collaborator.
Right.
Literally just send you the Matterport tour ID with the highlight reel that you've created. Highlight reel needs to be able to show on screen, and then you have everything you need to create a MatterVid video from a Matterport tour.
And actually, to touch to something you just said, just recently, just in the past, I guess, 2 weeks, we've had a new discovery in how we're doing it. It's not even necessary that you publish the highlight reel. So let's say you've created, it's not necessary that you publish it, make it public. It used to be, but let's say you've created the highlight reel and you don't want your client to see it because a highlight reel for your client would be an upcharge and they didn't want to pay the upcharge. Then just make sure that you have the highlight reel created. And just don't choose to show that in the thing, and we've got a way of kind of working around to access it. So as long as it exists,
a highlight reel must have been created before it gets to you.
Yes.
I think I would say, hey, if you don't have a highlight reel, you don't enjoy making highlight reels. This company called Captured. I would say go to the We Get Around Network forum. On the front page, wganforum.com, is a logo box. It says Captured. And when you click on that logo box, you'll get 6 free Matterport tours with highlight reels, with scans hidden that didn't add to the experience. They'll set the beginning screen, and if you decide to go past 6, it's a la carte, super easy to order them. So there is a third-party company. While you're sleeping in whatever time zone, you can upload your tour, wake up the next morning, and you'll have a beautifully created highlights reel. Voila. Then you can send it to Chris. So again, if you go to wganforum.com, click on the Captured, CAPTUR3D, the logo box on the front page. By using that link, you'll get 6 free Captured, 6 free Matterport tours with the highlight reel added. I think I've said that okay.
And I've personally used them, and they did a great job. In fact, the demonstration tour that I showed you earlier, they did the highlight reel for that one. And so I refer people to them all the time. So I'm definitely recommend doing that.
Yeah. Anyway, and six free to start out. So
Mhm.
it's so easy to use a third party to outsource, have the work done while you're sleeping, and then wake up next morning, place your order with you. Best practices for creating a highlight reel as it relates to knowing that you want a video created. Do you
Sure.
have some thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, they're actually there for a while. There was this whole focus on getting a good solid mesh, and when you're scanning, making sure that you have a really dense mesh. And then some people said, well, I'm not going to show the dollhouse, so I'm not really worried about the mesh. You still need to worry about the mesh because when you go through a tour and you're watching a highlight reel, when you see little fragments of things flying by your head or things are stretching and distorting, out of whack, that's because the mesh that makes up your dollhouse wasn't very dense, so your scans weren't very close together. And then if you go through a doorway and you end up clipping, through the side of the doorway, then that piece of stuff's coming at you. Those are things that kind of like make people go, wait a minute, what just happened? And those are things we can't control in our process. So, if those are in there, we're going to capture them. So to fix that, I would just say, make sure that your scan density is really, really tight. And you don't go overboard, but, just kind of stick within the guidelines. Just try to fill all the black spots in your map when you're scanning. When you go to a doorway, make sure that you've got sweeps that are outside the door, in the door frame, and inside the door. And then when you're publishing, just disable that one in the door frame. That's gonna help connect the two rooms together. And so when you transition, when you're setting up a transition from room to room, don't start outside in the hallway and then have a spot inside the wall right beside you, or you're going to kind of tear through that wall. You want to kind of go to one of those spots at a doorway opening and then work your way in. Same thing with a couch or a big piece of furniture. Unless you want the experience to be that you're flying through furniture and through things, just map out a normal walk path. And then, the way that it's set up now, at the time of recording this, it's pretty simple to go in, pick a spot, mark that as a point in your highlight reel and set it, and then go on to the next one. And if you don't like it, it's really easy to change it compared to what it was, say, 2 years ago. So if you've not tried making a highlight reel in a while, jump in there and give it a shot and you'll be surprised. So.
I would add that one of the things that I've done in the past when we've ordered Matter vids from you, Chris, is that we've used the dollhouse view as the transition between floors.
Yes.
So in fact, let me see if I can show you how We Get Around has done that. So that's in this particular, this is the We Get Around Network forum. This is the particular example I'm using, MatterVids videos made from Matterport 3D Tours. On this example here, if I go take a look at the highlights reel, this is a 3-story townhome. This is the first floor. This is the second floor, and this is the transition from floor to floor. So I thought I'd show how that actually looked. So you can see that. So we're going to transition from the first floor and now we're at the top of the stairs. So that's one way that I personally would recommend building a highlights reel, is either using the dollhouse view or the floor plan view to transition from floor to floor.
Like that.
I guess what I'm thinking, Chris, is to say, there's likely some viewers that are saying, hey, I can do that with ice cream. I can do that with OBS. I'm on a Mac. I can do that with QuickTime. what are your thoughts on that? Why should I be doing MatterVid rather than doing this myself with one of those tools or other tools like that?
Sure. Well, if you can do it and you can do it without lag and without catching jumpiness and without, tons of headaches and aspirin and everything else, then you're really not our ideal client, and that's okay. It's good because you've got a grasp on it. But we've yet to find any other recordings that have been as accurate and without glitches and without dragginess. We've tried all those apps that you're talking about. In fact, I've thought about going ahead and creating some tutorials on how to use them to the best of their abilities. But then you're still limited by hardware, by internet connections, all of those things. And we've made the investment in the hardware, the internet connections needed, and then some code work that we've done, some different things that we've created to enhance the images. A lot of it's proprietary, but that we've created a technique that pretty much is like in a perfect world with perfect internet, with a perfect machine with no lags, this is what your tour would look like. So if you can pull that off, by all means do it, and that's awesome. And give me a call because you'll help us grow.
Yeah. So you're so giving to tell people, if you can pull it off, using QuickTime or OBS or Ice Cream or whatever it might be, to do it. And I personally would say is, even if you're really awesome at that, no.
Yeah.
It's $20. Don't.
Yeah. Well,
don't.
that's the thing. You're buying time. We started in September of 2016 doing this in some form or another. In fact, we've got the history section on the website. You can check it out and kind of see where we came from and how we got here. But yeah, we spent so much time just focused on, and we're still focused on up and around the corner. As good as it is, that we've got ideas in place for how can we get it even better.
So I would add to that. This is there are things that you can outsource.
Mm-hmm.
Creating videos from a Matterport tour is one of them.
Yeah. It's
so inexpensive, less than $20. We'll talk about pricing. In volume, less than $12. That if you're spending time creating a video, two things. One, it's never going to look good as MatterVids. Chris has spent 4+ years perfecting the process with a proprietary process of how to create silky smooth, high definition video from Matterport. It doesn't show any Matter tags. It doesn't show any of the signage, that logos and Matterport stuff and Matter tags and all that stuff disappears. If you can do that, that's great. But that second thing is your time's valuable. And if you're creating video, then that's time it's taking away from you to do business development, and it's time taking away from scanning.
Yeah. And well, and Matterport's even sent us clients. So it's like, and they got lots of technology. So, I'm thankful for them.
Yeah. So it really, it's not worth your time. I have so much to visit with you about, Chris. You've been talking about a little bit of the history of creating MatterVids. I think it's probably important to know, a little bit about you, I think, pre-Matterport, and then even when you got started with Matterport, and then maybe what problem you've been trying to solve with this video stuff.
Yeah.
Chris, before Matterport, what were you doing?
Well, as far back as '92, I've been editing video. So it went from a hobby to a full-blown, professional career. And I did broadcast work for ESPN and stuff. And so video was pretty much like my second language for forever. And so when I got into doing the tours,
you bought a Matterport camera,
I bought a Matterport camera.
2016.
Yeah, 2016. And I think it was August or September of 2016. I got started. I looked at the industry and I said, I'm going to become as proficient as I can in everything, learn how it works. That's how I am. I like to learn everything I can about something and then think outside of the box and then throw the box out. And so I got into it. And and started looking at it. And I constantly saw people asking, how do I make a video? How do I do this? And I kept asking the same thing myself because I thought, this is a great player, and it's awesome if people know what they're looking at. But
The
what if I want,
Matterport player.
yeah, the interface itself is really cool. In fact, my clients were still calling them videos. And then I had clients asking, why can't I put this on YouTube? Or, how do I put it on YouTube? Or how do I do this? And I had to tell them no. And I was like, we can't, it doesn't work that way. But they couldn't understand that because they had an interface that they could work with and it would play. And so using my video history and understanding how video works, I thought there's got to be a smooth way to capture this and do this. We went through everything from taking an iPad and screen capping inside the showcase app and everything else. We early years, that's how we did it. And then we cropped it down to like a third of its size and to get rid of stuff. It was horrible.
Yeah, I won't take you through all that. You have this great history on your website. So if you want to know the history of MatterVids, go to the site. It is actually super interesting. But I think for today's purpose, what I really wanted to emphasize is you as a Matterport service provider intimately understand Matterport, and with your professional history in video, a deep knowledge of video. And so you've been able to take your deep knowledge of video, your deep knowledge of Matterport, mash that together and create something super exciting and simple, which is the ability to order a silky smooth, high definition video from a Matterport tour and not have it junked up with all the distractions of matter tags and highlight reel and everything else. Correct. So that video can now end up on YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, the Instagram version, any other social media channels that support video, a blog, a website, in the case of real estate, Zillow.
I even had some clients that were working with the local news department. They were doing a feature on them, so they sent it to them for B-roll. And then had some that used them for local advertisements for the business that they did the tour of. So, yeah.
Yeah, just awesome. You're almost like a gift to the community because you've created a add-on that is super easy to order. It's extremely high quality. It's less than $20. It's almost a gift to the community. And I think the way I look at it is, if you're a Matterport service provider, that video that is created by MatterVids, might sell for, pick a number, $49, $99, $149, $249. Just because you pay Chris $20, or maybe you pay him for some music, and maybe you pay him for the Google fly-in, and maybe you're paying something more than that, but you may very well find that you're able to offer it as an add-on. Let's call it $249. It may literally be nearly as much as what you charged for Matterport tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in my view, so what? I think it's really important when we're talking about pricing, and I'll ask you to comment on this, Chris, but from my view, pricing is about value, mm-hmm. and it's what's the perceived value of that service or that product from mm-hmm. the prospect that wants it. Yeah. And if you offer it, and somebody really wants video, and they really want a nice video, and they want that Google Earth fly-in, and they want the music, and they want their logo on it, and they want the URL on of the property address, for that property, that MatterVids can deliver that. And from the service provider's point of view, it's not a whole lot to do to place an order to be able to pay X and maybe be able to charge, 5 or 10X of what it actually costs. Do you have any thoughts on pricing, on retail pricing for a service provider?
Yeah. It's, not an exact amounts, but just echo what you said. We're not sticking our brand on it anywhere. We're delivering you, when you get a delivery when it's finished, you've got a download link where you can download it, and it's just it's the video. It's not, it's not going to have anything tying back to us. So, I tell clients all the time, I say, if you're telling people about it, you don't have to even mention our name. You don't have to say anything. Take the examples, have some of your tours converted, show them to people. You can even lead with the sale. You could show the video, and send it to somebody and say, hey, get one of these videos. You don't even have to say 3D tour. Maybe it's an icebreaker. And then when they ask, well, hey, how did I fly through the couch? How do you do that stuff? Then they can look at it. So the pricing is, different regions have different price points. Different clients have different things. I've heard people selling them, like you said, way up there and some low. We just try to keep the price low enough that if you just wanted to get it done as a marketing piece on your own website, it wouldn't really be too big of a hit for you. And it's a happy place where you win, we win, everybody wins. So.
Yeah, I personally, I think it's a high margin piece. It's got a high perceived value, a low cost, and it's super easy to order as an add-on. And every Matterport service providers should be using MatterVids as part of their service offering.
Yeah.
Period. End of paragraph. I mean, it just, to me, it just seems that obvious. I do have I still have more questions for you, a lot of questions. I think what I want to just mention is, later in the show, we have 2 special offers for WGAN members, and I'll talk about that. So stay tuned for that. Chris, how about in terms of challenges when people place an order? Are there some tips when placing an order so to make sure that the order doesn't get hung up in queue for some reason?
Sure. Yeah, there are actually a couple of things. It's interesting because we've started getting a steady stream of orders coming in. A lot of them repeat customers, a lot of them new people, and we're thankful for every single one of them. But when an order comes in, the first thing we do is we check the URL, make sure, one, that the tour ID works. That's the first thing. And so if it works, great, that's out of the way. If it doesn't, then you're going to get an email saying we're appreciating your order. Thank you, but we got a problem. So, then just go to make sure that you've published the tour. That's the first step, is making sure it's published. The next is the highlight reel. Make sure that the highlight reel exists. Used to, we would say, you may have a highlight reel, but it's not showing up. But now we just say, there isn't a highlight reel. So make sure the highlight reel is published, make sure the tour is published and unlocked to be public. And then let's see, highlight reel, that one. And then I think those are the main ones. The other one too is if you have like a spam filter on your email, you'll want to go, and I don't usually type it in on the website because I don't want tons of spam, but orders@mattervids.com is our delivery email address. So when you get your finished link, it's going to go there. We've had a few people contact and say, hey, where's my order? And we have to reply and say, well, we actually sent it. Have you checked your spam folder? Here's a link just in case. And so, that is the email address it'll be coming from. Make sure that that's whitelisted in your spam folder. And I think those are the main things, but those are the main things that cause us to have to set it aside. And then instead of 3 days delivery, if the client hasn't had it ready, then, then we're looking at a longer delay.
Okay. When I place my order, what do I get as a deliverable? Are you putting a video in a Dropbox, or are you emailing me a video? What is it?
Let's see here, because I actually got one on the website for a sample, because that was a very common question. Okay, so if we go to, I think it's on the order page. Yeah. So at the bottom of the order page, okay, this is the sample video. Feel free to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Go follow the link and download it, and then you can use it on your website if you want to, and offer it to your clients that way.
All right, so let's click there. That's on the word here.
Okay.
So this is how it's delivered. You get a URL, and now there's a download button.
That's correct. And this won't be up here. This is just because I'm logged in from the back end.
Yeah.
But this is all what you'll see. And then you've got options. You're going to have the original file, which is a pretty large file. It's 531 megabytes, sorry. But that's a 19 by 20 by 1080. Then you've got the HD, and this is where Vimeo has converted it for us to a more streamlined, optimized version. So if you want the original to do whatever with, you click this button, it starts downloading, and it's all yours. We can't take it away from you. We're not gonna, whatever, you just edit it up, chop it up, send it like it is, whatever you want to do.
Why might I use some of these other versions?
Sure. The 1080p, if you're going to put it on your website and you want it streaming, then this is already optimized for that. And so you don't have to worry about it lagging as much. The top one is going to be the highest quality, the original file that we sent. It's also going to be a lot higher bit rate. So this is going to be optimized for streaming. So will this one. And these others are if you're going to be putting them somewhere that you need to send them smaller. Let's say you're going to convert it to an animated GIF or something that needs to be in an email attachment or some type of a file. A lot of people have really strange uses, which, by all means, go for it. But these are just available options for you to download it as well.
I'm confused. Your website says something about 4K?
4K, yep. We do offer 4K. We did offer 4K, and we still do. But it's not as perfect as the perfect, which is strange. You'd think 4K would be better than the 1080p HD. But we found that we had a handful of clients that were ordering it, but the return on investment for creating it made it so that we couldn't really offer it at the same price point. And it still wasn't the same quality. It was still subjected to lags and glitches and things. So if you're interested in that and you want that, give us a shout. We're gonna set up a place where you can get to order it automatically. But right now we just wanted to focus on what was selling and what was good. So
I guess I can imagine 4K sounds like it'd be nicer, but if someone doesn't have a 4K TV or a 4K device, then it's kind of wasted.
And unless you're doing it for purposes of trying to like say archive or get footage to chop into something else, it's not. I mean, some people specifically wanted that, and then I was kind of feeling bad when they would order it because I was thinking we've got, for much less, we have an option over here that we can do that's going to be smoother and nicer, and most people are going to see it. So it was kind of overkill. It was our goal for a long time until we realized that we could pull this off. So.
Okay. If I have a website that provides other services to our clients, can I incorporate your ordering process using an API or something similar?
We've been approached with that a few times, and we can use webhooks. We can develop a process that will do that. We just really need to meet and talk about it. Maybe do a Zoom call or a few emails back and forth and get it lined up. But we can make it work to where you're not having to constantly go to the website and type in all that information every time. Yeah.
Excuse me. So it's a possibility you'd like to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on the situation, and as long as it doesn't affect our ability to scale, and it's going to be a win-win. Any type of partnerships like that, anything that anyone's interested in, I'm willing to talk about. As long as it's an equal win, then we're good.
Okay. Awesome. How about taking us back to your order page and let's go over pricing.
Sure. So the right page. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Cool.
So let's take us to everything I can possibly spend money with you.
Okay, sure. Let's say we're going to get a short of ordering a custom edit, as far as being able to check out here.
So the basic MatterVid was $19.99.
Mm-hmm.
I can then decide to add music. Do I want to add music? Adding music is going to be either $2 to $4, literally. So the most I could spend on music is $4. I presume I can't send you a track. I can only use music that comes from this library.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Now, whether or not I want a Google Fly-In or not, if I'd like that Google Fly-In, $19.99. Then standard deliveries, three business days or less. Yes. So if I order on a Monday, I guess 3 business days would be a Thursday.
Yeah, if you order before 3 p.m. Eastern time, on Monday, then I believe it's Monday, Tuesday to Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday or Thursday. I believe it's
Thursday
Thursday.
would
Yeah,
be 3
Thursday.
business days.
Yeah. So you'll have it by
Okay.
Thursday at about 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're doing all of our timing based on Eastern time because it's where we're located.
Okay. And if I
Um,
order on a Thursday,
Mhm.
then there's Friday, Monday,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Is it Friday?
Tuesday,
I believe that's right. I've got a chart.
Thursday to
somewhere.
Friday, Friday to Monday, Monday to Tuesday. Sounds like 3 days.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's actually a chart. So we can
Yeah.
go, you could go onto his website, mattervids.com, and it'll actually summarize.
Yeah, there it is. It's the example. Well, it's the example on it, but yeah.
Yep. Okay, great. Then I noticed there's an opportunity for Rush.
Mhm.
So Rush delivery, 1 business day. So if I order today, if I order on a Thursday for Friday, if I order Friday for Monday, business
Correct.
days,
Mhm.
then it's $68.99.
Yes.
Sounds like a lot.
Yep.
So how do you deal with those in the real estate business that what you I imagine you have some other option.
Yeah, we've actually we're developing an option. We offered it before called the raw clone, and we're going to go back to that as an option because if you notice all MatterVids, here's some features with the MatterVids. They're unbranded, they're loopable, and they're enhanced. So we have a step in the process where we've created a proprietary plugin for our editing suite that makes some enhancements that will in some cases actually make the tour look better than the original. And so we incorporate that. We also make some edits so that if you were to say go to a trade show or somewhere and put your video on loop, it would be a seamless loop. And so if we can cut that out of the process and we just give you just a straight up screen capture of your tour, we're working on a way to get that to you faster and at a less expensive price. And that's going to be coming in the very, very near future.
Okay, great. So let's go back to that pricing page.
Sure.
And so I'm on this, I get it. You know, I decide, okay, I want a MatterVid, I want music, I want a Google fly-in. I'm going to have a separate conversation with you about a logo, whether I want a logo at the beginning, a logo at the end, whether I want to burn in a logo at the bottom left corner, whether I want to have my URL for my single property website or my property address appear on the video. I start to do a lot of volume with you. Do you got special pricing for me?
We do. Yeah. The way that our volume pricing works now is once you've ordered 10 tours within a calendar month, then you can approach us through the contact page or email us and then just say, hey, I just ordered my 10th video this month. I'd like a VIP code. That VIP code is going to be good for $8 off of every tour for 6 months. So over the course of the next 6 months, if the next month you only order 1 video, you're going to get it for $11.99. And you can order as many of them at that rate as you want to. At the end of 6 months, we're going to go back and reevaluate your account. If you've averaged 10 tours in a calendar month through that time, then we'll extend it another 6 months. If you've not, then we'll just have to go back until you've gotten 10 in a month again. Basically, the reason was we had a lot of people that would say, hey, we're going to order a bunch of volume, and then they disappear. And then, we'd get things set up and they'd be gone. Then we'd have some people that would come along and they would order volume and it would be pretty intense. And so the only way that I figured logically to keep it streamlined for us, for them, make it easy, is let's all use the same interface for ordering, but we'll give you a code and it's your custom code and it's just for you. And when you plug that in, we know that, you're VIP, so we're going to knock $8 off per tour. And so you have more markup margin.
Yeah, so it's awesome. So from as low as less than $12 in quantity.
Yeah.
You're doing 10 tours a month, you're going to be paying less than $12 for your tours after that first burst of 10 videos within a month.
Yeah.
and it's actually an $8 off coupon code. So if you still want to add the music, you want to add the Google fly-in, you want something else, then just apply the $8 off.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Chris, I mentioned that We Get Around Network has a couple special offers. I thought I would talk about them in terms of pricing.
Sure.
Let's see if I can call up some pages I have called up. Okay, let me take you, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to share a page, Chris.
Okay.
So if you go to the We Get Around Network forum, the short address, if you're watching on our YouTube channel or elsewhere, is wganforum.com, wganforum.com. So if you go into forum and you search for the tag MatterVids, this will be one of the videos, one of the forum posts, how to get the free use of a Matter vid, or for, how do you get a free Matter vid of one of your tours. If you are a We Get Around Network standard or premium member, you get a free Matter vid every year using the WGAN rebate form. Simple as that. So you simply order it with Chris, and we will reimburse you through PayPal up to $19.99. We want you to try, first of all, we obviously would like you to be a standard and or premium member of WGAN. There's 40 plus membership benefits. One of those membership benefits is you do get a free Matter vid, and that's handled with a WGAN rebate form. Also from this page, this will take you to this page, and if you are a basic, standard, or premium member of the We Get Around Network, you can get sample videos, sample Matterport videos to incorporate in your website. So we literally have 16 Matterport tours that MatterVids turned into MatterVids. And those same tours, MatterVids created 16 Instagram samples. So if you are a WGAN basic member, you can include up to 2 of these on your website. And if you're a standard or premium member, you can include up to 5 of these samples on your website as a membership benefit. And then as Chris said, you can still go to the MatterVids website, and there's one that he has available that you can download as well. Mm-hmm. So those are the special offers. Where does the Matterport teaser videos fit into this conversation? Because Matterport does create free teaser videos automatically from Matterport tours.
They were actually part of the inspiration for moving Matterport or MatterVids forward. I've actually got a sample of what happened to me when they first came out. I got so excited. Let me go to the history page here.
I imagine your heart might have sank a little bit that Matterport was offering free videos where you were charging for MatterVids.
Well, at that point I wasn't fully offering it as a service. I was offering it individually to some people like Sherry Rennick. Actually, she put a lot of faith in me early on and put up with a whole lot of stuff to figure out a lot of the working through things, figure out how to make it work. But yeah, then this came out, and I did, on some level I thought, oh, okay, well, there goes doing that. They're gonna take it over. But then this was the first one that I got back from them. It was nice and started out, smooth. But then it decided that it wanted to land right in the middle of the garage, and I was disheartened. So yeah.
I think you're pretty lucky. Most of us, when we first started it out, it landed on the bathroom.
Yeah, that was the big complaint that I heard in the forums, and I thought, okay, well, I've got to fix this. And so that's actually one of the ways that we started was offering custom teasers that you could control, and you could still do that with this. The way that you would do it would be to just take your dollhouse view, start at the dollhouse view. wherever you want to start, really. It's just 3 frames. You make a starting frame wherever you want to start, and then go to a dollhouse view, and then copy that frame back to the end. So you've got like frame 1, frame 2, and frame 1 again. And you've got exactly the same thing. It's just you controlled where it went. You could do it with more if you wanted, but the idea would be that, you know, you just, if you want to make a longer one, maybe four of them, but it really just gives you just a little sampler to show people.
Yeah, I think Matterport actually did you a favor, Chris. First, when they came out with these teaser videos, and I think we were all initially like, wow, that's awesome. But as soon as we started downloading, we go, oh, they're ending up in the garage. They're ending up in the bathroom. It's a $5 million property. It's ended up in the worst possible room. So it kind of, these Matterport teaser videos tease us about the possibility of getting videos from Matterport tours. And I guess that was probably a good inspiration for you to say, there seems to be a demand for videos created from Matterport tours. But they got to, fast forward today, MatterVids, high definition, silky smooth videos from Matterport tours created from the highlight reel.
Yeah, that you control, and you get to choose where it starts, where it stops, and where it goes in between. Yeah.
Awesome. Chris, we've covered a lot of ground today. There are questions that I should have asked you that I haven't asked.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, they told me there were, and I was like, that's okay. No, not that I can think of. No, I think that pretty much covers it.
Got to be something else to cover about MatterVids.
MatterVids. Let's see. Basically, I just want to let everybody know to keep their eyes open. You know, we're constantly looking. Like I said, we're constantly looking around the corner, and we're always trying to get better. And really just feedback. You know, if you're a MatterVids client, I mean, some of our clients we hear from regularly, and we get feedback. Some of them just order, and we never really get to talk to them. We've got it's increased about 400% just in the past few months, the ordering. And so, you know, we're just trying to keep it scalable, but we want your feedback on things that would make it easier, you know, to scale. I will say that, you know, response to messages and things like questions is probably, it gets kind of pushed to the back burner for production's sake sometimes. So if, you know, if you've ordered from us, your order is going to get our attention. And if you've asked a question and I've not responded, or somebody's not responded to you, then, you know, just try again, or be patient. We'll get with you. But, you know, we don't want to put anybody on hold. But once you've placed an order, we want that to take priority over trying to sell more people on it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Is there anything else that's coming? Anything to tease us about MatterVids that's coming in the future? I know you mentioned that one process for
the raw clone.
You mentioned that. Is there yet something else that's coming? I think what I did here is there's some shopping cart features that are coming that you'll incorporate some extra field, probably for capturing perhaps logos or something else, or some other order forms that you'll have, even if it's not on the website. There'll probably be some other you're asking for those solutions. Let us send you a link so that you can efficiently send us logos and artwork, etc.
Right. We've been working on an assistant so that, you know, when you show up on site, if it's your first time there or whatever, you can tell us, you know, okay, I'm looking for a logo on it. I'm looking for this stuff. And then it would route you to the right place to check out. And then that way we don't have to go so much back and forth with emails to try to, you know, to say, you know, hey, what logo are you using? What's your style? What do you want to do? Yeah. So we'll streamline it.
Cool. I could imagine this COVID-19 pandemic has affected your MatterVid business.
Yeah, it's actually increased dramatically. I think the world's starting to kind of take note, you know, the importance of what we do.
Yeah, I think that's good for all of us. Certainly, you started out with as a Matterport service provider, probably like many of us thought that the armored cars would be showing up with tons of money, and it's taken a lot of time for all of us to tell the story, and then maybe 4 years of how long it would take for adoption has been done maybe in 3 or 4 months. And I could imagine now that there's all that ordering of additional Matterport tours, then it's creating additional requests now for the video from the Matterport tours.
Yeah.
So I think if I could say there was, one takeaway for me from our show today, is that it's super easy, super fast, super affordable to order a silky smooth high definition video from a Matterport tour using a highlight reel that a Matterport service provider, creates and has control over.
Mhm.
And it's a awesome add-on or upsell or whatever it might be. And if you're a Matterport service provider and you're not offering, a video solution, this is the easy, fast way to offer a video from your shoot that requires no effort on your part,
Mhm.
super affordable, and because it has such high perceived value, depending on your market, it literally could be. I mean, and I would imagine a range all the way from charging $49 as an add-on to charging $499, depending on which feature set you're using and what the perceived value is and what size market you're in. To me, it's just there's money sitting on the table for Matterport service providers that are leveraging MatterVids.
I agree.
Of course you agree.
Yeah.
This is
I'm doing it.
it's like send business to Chris, mattervids.com. I'm so grateful that you've been on the show today. I know probably today's, sounds so commercial talking about your business, but to me, I just see this as like, what a valuable contribution that you've made to the Matterport ecosystem, starting out as a Matterport service provider like the rest of us in 2000, in your case, 2016, you figured out that clients wanted video, and somehow, some way, there would be a way to deliver. In fact, they thought it was video. So why can't I have it as a video? I can put on Vimeo or YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
You figured out how to do that and turn it into a business. Kudos to you, because you've created value for the community while creating a business for you that lets you live, in a nice rural setting, near Bristol, Tennessee.
Yep.
How awesome is that to be able to? I imagine you have Matterport, MatterVid customers all over the world.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've just got my first client from Tokyo, it was Tokyo like last week, and so it's like literally every continent, and it's been really, really wild.
How awesome is that? Just awesome. So, hey, Chris, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.
We've been visiting with Chris Fraser. Chris is the founder of MatterVids. He's active in the We Get Around Network forum community. His member name is MatterVids, the @MatterVids. You can also reach Chris on his website, mattervids.com. Super excited. Thanks so much for being on the show today, Chris. If you've missed any portion of today's show, we have been recording it. We will publish it in the We Get Around Network forum. Today is Thursday, June 18th. We'll publish it by tomorrow, Friday, June 19th, 2020. And thank you all for tuning in. And I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network forum. And you've been watching WGAN TV Live.